everyone, it's Froggy, and now that we've finished Backstage Pass, we have moved on to your choice of game, which ended up being Hakuoki Kyoto Winds. So I hope you guys are super excited because I know I am. So, let's jump into this new game here. I have never played a Hakuoki game in my life. Ooh, I can name my character. Wait, what's the first name and what's the last name? Hmm. 90% sure Chizuru was her first name, so let's see. What name do I want to give this girl here? Let's name her... What? There we go. Let's name her Madison. Yes. Confirm. Madison. Ending name input proceed. What? Yes? I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what I just did, but okay. If that ended up being her last name, well, whatever. December, apparently. So, this is Kyoto. It was awfully impressive, no denying it. The streets seemed warm and friendly. Even simple hellos between people passing in the street seemed warm and friendly. They nodded and smiled to one another, as if family and not strangers about on errands. Still, there was something else as well. Something making the city feel strangely cold. Almost as though there was a great invisible wall shutting out anyone wandering from the city. I'm not sure if I belong here. No, that's all in my head. I walked quite some distance to reach Kyoto, and both my mind and body were exhausted. Even so, tiredness was no reason to meander and feel sorry for myself. I couldn't afford to. Excuse me? I hesitantly stopped a passerby. I'm sorry, I seem to be a bit lost. Could you... What am I supposed to do now? I was lost again, but in a different sort of way. I sighed and looked up at the darkening sky. The sun was beginning to set. People I'd spoken to showed me no unkindness, and they'd given me directions I'd needed, but was now really the best time to leave the city? Learning the person I'd hoped to visit had left town caused hope to seep from my crumbling resolve. Okay. The only person besides Father that I could rely on in the city who I could rely on was Dr. Matsumoto. Dr. Matsumoto was a doctor serving shogunate. Wait. Oh, shogunate. Okay. A military government run by samurai. In this game, it refers to the Tokugawa shogunate. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Uh-oh, I'm stuck. Oh. Oh, okay, figured it out. I had never met him myself, but my father put a great deal of trust in the man. He had told me that if I ran into any trouble in his absence, I was to contact Dr. Matsumoto. Unfortunately, Dr. Matsumoto was out on business and would not return for some time. Was I too hasty? Perhaps I should have waited. It is indeed rude to visit without warning, which is why I had sent a letter prior to my arrival. But it seems he had left before reading my letter. Perhaps, I thought, I should have waited for a reply before traveling to an unfamiliar city. But I can no longer spend time waiting idly for news. Madison. Is something wrong, Father? He paused a moment and looked at me.
実はな、しばらくの間、京の都へ行くことになった。
Is it for business again? He'd left the house often during that period, sometimes for days at a time. How long will you be gone?
それはわからん。一月になるか、二月になるか。
Oh, there was no hiding my disappointment. Nonetheless, I wasn't a child anymore. I couldn't beg him not to go or some other foolishness. Yes, I'd be lonely, but I was much more worried for him. Please, Father, be careful. They say the city of Kyoto is dangerous. He only smiled and nodded.
安心しなさい。お前が心配しないように、京にいる間はできる限り手紙を書くよ。
Okay, you promise? Father kept his promise. A new letter arrived so often I scarcely had the time to respond before another would arrive. He told me that he worried about me being home all by myself. Then the letter stopped. A whole month passed with no word. Father, they say that Kyoto is full of Ronin. Samurai who left their master or who have been stripped of their privileges. It can also refer to a samurai who does not have a master to serve. It is not a safe place. Usually the samurai is paid by their house, but Ronin who report to no house often rob people in order to make ends meet. They're nothing more than violent criminals who hide behind the image of a samurai. Such is the state of the city of Kyoto, the city of Ronin. Small wonder, then, that I worried for my father. My mind would concoct horrible possibilities, and I often found myself depressed and tense. First, I suppose I need to find a place to stay. Lost in thought, I didn't notice nightfall descend. If I was honest with myself, I hadn't the faintest idea of how long searching for him would take. I'd brought a negligible sum of money with me, enough to last me a month if used wisely. Finding Father in this window of time was a must. Otherwise, I would have to depend on Dr. Matsumoto returning in this time, or else I'd be forced to return home without a word. Well, at any rate, I should try and be as frugal as possible. I lengthened my stride and set off on my path. Fortunately for me, men's clothing assisted in keeping a quicker pace than women's. Kyoto presented many dangers to a young girl, hoping to explore the city without direction. My disguise, such as it was, proved successful, and I'd safely made it all the way to Kyoto. Such success went to my head and led me to believe that I could explore Kyoto as I pleased. But Kyoto is not a safe place. I should have remembered that. Instead, I had somehow convinced myself that the city's hidden dangers didn't apply to me. I was about to discover otherwise. I spun around. In the street in front of me were 3 Ronin. Can I help you? I did my best to keep my voice calm, reaching nonchalantly for my kodachi. Originally a short katana, by the end of the Edo period, it referred to a large wakizashi. It was usually worn as half of a pair with a larger sword, such as a katana. My father encouraged me to take sword lessons. I kept with them, and I did rather well. I was confident enough in defending myself. However, perhaps my overconfidence in myself is what served the situation at hand to me. I'd messed up and let my guard down. My fault. There was a chance that I could take them on, but there were 3 of them and 1 of me. Only then did I realize that they were far more interested in my sword than they were in me. But the sword wasn't just some blade I'd picked up. It was a family heirloom spanning generations. There was no way I could give it to that Ronin. Though I had the feeling they wouldn't understand. In such a situation, the best decision was undoubtedly to retreat. I turned and ran as fast as my legs could.
Oi, machigara koso!
Gosh, they sure don't give up easily, do they? I felt like I'd been running for quite a while, but I could still hear the Ronin cursing loudly. I ducked into an alley, flattening against the wall. After deciding they weren't too close, I crept further into the alley. Someone left a couple sheets of wood leaning against one of the houses. Perfect hiding spot. Good luck, I thought, kneeling down under them. This was my way to escape this mess. Huh? I was listening for sounds intently. A suspicious calm entered my mind. I'd expected to hear the Ronin yelling to each other, looking for me, but... Seconds turned into minutes and I heard nothing. I was about to sneak out and have a look when... Oh. What? My plan to investigate was immediately halted. Remaining silent and hidden was more important. Still. It was then that true fear began to set in. There was something dangerous out there. Something quite possibly lethal. My imagination conjured up no shortage of gruesome theories. Even so, I could feel an itch of curiosity. I wanted to know what was out there. Carefully, I peeked around the corner edge. The cold reflection of moonlight upon a blade glared at me, and my eyes followed it to the arm that held it, clad in a coat of light blue. Had this person saved me? But no slower than it appeared, my hope vanished. I heard the Ronin stumbling to beg for his life. The person in the blue coat said nothing, just stepped forward, his sword raised. A high, screeching laugh cut the man's scream. The blade fell through the air like a butcher's knife rather than a sword. No skill, just death. The scream turned wet, caught and disappeared, like air leaving half-empty bellows. My eyes went wide. I had just witnessed a murder. Any strength I'd received vanished quickly. My legs gave way and I crumbled to the ground. My eyes widened like busted shells. He died with the first blow. But as I watched, the blades fell, carving lines into the corpse. The soft slip of the blade through flesh, the silent creep of blood across the ground. I felt nothing from them but madness. Their only desire was raw, animalistic violence. Whatever they were, it wasn't human. They were broken. Ugh. I could feel my throat clenched tightly, and a warm, dark smell brushed against my face. I slowly recognized the coppery tang of blood. An icy bolt of fear ran down my spine, crawling into my limbs and freezing me in place. I was terrified. What was I going to do? What could I do? You have to run, Madison. I forced my jaw open and drew a ragged breath. This was the only chance I'd get. I had to. My body, still numb with fear, was unresponsive. I lurched sideways against the stacked wood, and with a rough clatter, it collapsed. The creatures turned, coats drenched in blood. Their eyes locked with mine and bore into me. Hideous grins split their inhuman faces, shaking with excitement at prey to slaughter. I had to run. I couldn't die yet, but my legs refused to move. Their hideous cackling laughter echoed. I was going to die. My body was frozen with terror. I couldn't even scream. This was it. This was the end. Well, that was an exciting first episode, don't you think? But I think I'm gonna go ahead and end that here for today. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to see more videos from me, then don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.